I never thought I'd be the one holding the match to burn it all down, but when my best friend, my sister in everything but blood, sold me out for a corner office, I lit the fuse without a second thought. The severance package they shoved under my nose came with a gag order thicker than the lies she'd whispered in my ear for years, but I signed it with a smile, knowing the real explosion was just getting started. By the time the Department of Labor knocked on the door, clipboard in hand, and my name screaming from the first page of their investigation file, the entire floor of that glass tower hellhole was whispering my name like a curse. It started 6 months earlier, in the fluorescent buzz of Apex Solutions' Midtown Manhattan headquarters. I was Camila Reyes, 32, the invisible engine keeping the marketing department from imploding. Born in the Bronx to immigrant parents who scrubbed floors so I could chase a degree from NYU, I'd clawed my way up from intern coffee runs to senior coordinator, the one who turned chaotic client pitches into gold. My days blurred into nights of Excel sheets and espresso shots. But I had Elena, my ride or die since freshman year dorms. We were the unbreakable duo, me with my sharp eye for details, her with the silver tongue that charmed VPs into signing blank checks. She was the face, I was the spine, or so I thought. Elena Vasquez, with her glossy black hair and that laugh like wind chimes in a summer storm, had always been the dreamer. We bonded over bootleg empanadas and late-night rants about glass ceilings, vowing we'd shatter them together. Camila, you're the brains. I'm the dazzle, she'd say, clinking her wine glass against mine in our cramped Astoria apartment. But dreams have a way of curdling when ambition tastes like power. Apex was our Everest, a cutthroat ad agency where egos clashed like thunderheads, and the corner offices on the 42nd floor overlooked Central Park like thrones. Our boss, Victor Hale, was the kingpin, a silver-haired shark in Armani suits, 55 and divorced 3 times, with a reputation for mentoring the pretty ones while burying the rest under paperwork avalanches. It was Victor who first sniffed opportunity in Elena. During a late-night client war room session, she dazzled him with a pitch for a pharma giant's opioid campaign. Ironic, given how addictive corporate climbing could be. I was the one who'd crunched the data, forecasted the ROI down to the penny, but she took the mic, and suddenly, it was her name on the thank you email from the CEO. I didn't mind at first. We shared everything. Team Reyes Vasquez. I'd tease, and she'd hug me fierce, promising we'd both make VP by 40. But cracks spiderwebbed in over months. Elena started staying late for Hale, her outfits shifting from thrift store chic to designer sheaths that hugged like second skins. Our girls' nights dwindled to texts. Swamped. Babe. Rain check? I'd nod at my phone, ignoring the gnaw in my gut, because loyalty's a blindfold you tie on yourself. Then came the promotion. Associate director, Elena's name etched on a glass plaque, while I got a pat on the back and a 2% raise that barely covered the subway fare hike. I confronted her in the ladies' room, mirrors fogged from our shared anxiety. What the hell, El? That opioid deck was mine. You didn't even credit the analytics. Her eyes, those deep brown pools I'd trusted since we were 18, flickered like a glitch in the Matrix. Cam, it's not like that. Victor says the spotlight's what sells. You know I couldn't do it without you. She touched my arm, but it felt rehearsed, like a script from one of Hale's boardroom monologues. I swallowed it, because what else do you do when your anchor starts dragging? The real knife twisted during the merger pitch. Apex was swallowing a boutique firm from Brooklyn, and the war chest was a $50 million media buy for a tech startup peddling AI ethics software. Pure hypocrisy, since our internal comms were a dumpster fire of NDAs and non-competes designed to chain employees to desks. I led the analytics team, buried in spreadsheets till my eyes bled, uncovering a glitch in the startup's algorithm that could tank user privacy. It wasn't just a bug. It was a backdoor, siphoning data to third-party brokers. Reporting it could have killed the deal, cost jobs, maybe the merger. But burying it? That was fraud, straight-up SEC bait. I flagged it to Elena first, in a hushed conference room after hours, rain lashing the windows like judgment. This goes higher than us, El. If we pitch this blind, we're complicit. She paced, heels clicking like metronomes of doubt. Camila, think. This merger's our ticket. Victor's promising me the moon, equity, the works. If we rock the boat. Her voice trailed, but her eyes said it. I'll drown. I stared, the weight of it settling like lead in my chest. We'd always been us against them, the Latina girls from the outer boroughs, flipping off the WASP pipeline. Now, she was choosing the pipeline. That night, I couldn't sleep. Our apartment reeked of her new Chanel perfume, mingling with the takeout lo-mein weeds scarfed in silence. I drafted the ethics report alone, citing regs from Dodd-Frank to the FTC guidelines, my fingers flying over keys till dawn. By morning, I'd emailed it to Victor, CCNG Elena, because trust is a habit you break cold turkey. His reply was swift. Camila, join me in my office. 10 a.m. sharp. The office was a shrine to excess. Mahogany desk the size of a Buick, walls lined with signed baseballs from Steinbrenner to Jeter, and a view that made you feel like a god until you remembered the altitude could make you fall. Victor leaned back in his leather throne, steepling fingers like a Bond villain. Bold move, Ms. Reyes. But bold's not always bright. He slid a printout across. My report, redlined to confetti. This glitch? A feature, not a bug. Our clients assured us it's compliant. Rocking this boat sinks us all. I stood my ground, heart hammering like a jackhammer on asphalt. It's not compliant, Mr. Hale. It's a violation. If the Labor Board or SEC gets wind. He cut me off with a laugh, cold as a winter wind off the Hudson. Labor Board? We're talking white-collar paradise here, Camila. No unions, no overtime gripes. This is about ambition. Then he dropped the bomb. Elena's already signed off. Said you were. Overzealous. Stressed, maybe. Post-merger jitters. The room tilted. Elena, my Elena, who'd cried on my shoulder after her mom's deportation scare, who'd split her last 20 with me for rent. Betrayed by her, for him, for a plaque and a paycheck. I stormed out, past cubicles buzzing with oblivious chatter, straight to her desk. She wasn't there. Her monitor glowed with a desktop wallpaper of us at Coney Island, cotton candy smiles frozen in time. A sticky note fluttered, meeting with V. Back soon. Love you. Love. The word curdled like milk left in the sun. I didn't quit that day. Revenge isn't a sprint. It's a marathon through the 9 circles of corporate hell. Instead, I played the long game, documenting every email, every offhand joke from Hale about diversity hires who needed seasoning. Elena's flip-flops piled up. She'd poach my ideas in meetings, then refine them for her reports, crediting herself with a wink my way, like we were still in on the con. But I saw the hunger in her, the way she'd linger by his door, laughing at his stale anecdotes. She was remaking herself in his image, shedding our shared skin for something polished, palatable. The merger closed in a champagne haze, bonuses flowing like the East River at flood tide. Elena got her VP bump, a sleek office with a fern that screamed, I've arrived. Me? A team player, commendation, and a bottle of mid-shelf Merlot from HR. We celebrated at a rooftop bar in Soho, fairy lights twinkling over the skyline, but the air between us crackled like a live wire. To us, she toasted, clinking her flute against mine. I smiled, sharp as a switchblade. To truths coming out. That's when the whispers started. A junior analyst, fresh out of Baruch, cornered me in the break room, eyes wide as saucers. Camila, you hear about the data skim? That AI thing. It's leaking like a sieve. Word was spreading, viral as a TikTok scandal. Clients were murmuring. A Brooklyn competitor smelled blood. Hale called an all hands. His face a mask of paternal concern. Rumors are poison, folks. Stick to the script. But the script was fraying, threads of doubt pulling loose. Elena pulled me aside after, in the stairwell that smelled of stale cigarettes and regret. What did you do? Her voice was a hiss, accusation laced with fear. I met her gaze, steady as the Brooklyn Bridge. Me? I did nothing. But someone buried a bomb, and now it's ticking. She grabbed my wrist, nails digging like accusations. Cam, if this blows, it takes us both down. Victor's furious. Thinks it's you stirring shit. I wrenched free, the sting a welcome burn. Let it tick, L. See what explodes. The explosion came swift and surgical. 2 weeks later, HR summoned me to a windowless room on the 15th floor, the kind reserved for sensitive discussions. Sandra Klein, the department head, a bleach-blonde barracuda in pearls, sat flanked by 2 suits from legal, their briefcases like brief sarcophagi. Ms. Reyes, she began, voice syrup over gravel. We've received complaints about your conduct, disruptive emails, unauthorized disclosures. Apex values loyalty. On the table, Printouts of my ethics draft, twisted into insubordination. And there, buried in the stack, Elena's affidavit. Camila has been unstable lately. I fear for the team's morale. Unstable. The word landed like a sucker punch to the solar plexus. I laughed, a raw, jagged sound that echoed off cinderblock walls. This is retaliation. I raised a flag on fraud, and now you're gagging me. Sandra's smile didn't reach her eyes. Sign this NDA and separation agreement, and we'll make it painless. 6 months' pay, references intact. Refuse, and it's termination for cause. Blackballed from every agency in the tri-state. I signed, pen scratching like claws on a chalkboard. But as I walked out, briefcase in hand, the fire kindled. Betrayal's a teacher, and mine was whispering. They think you're done. Show them done. Outside, the December chill bit like Judgment Day, snow flurries dancing over Fifth Avenue like confetti from a funeral. I didn't go home. Instead, I hit a dive bar in Hell's Kitchen, nursing a Jameson till the edges blurred. There, between the jukebox's mournful Springsteen and the barkeep's tales of union busts, I plotted. Apex wasn't just a job. It was a machine, grinding dreamers into dust. Hale's empire thrived on silenced voices, overtime cheats, harassment sweeps under rugs, diversity quotas filled with tokens like me. Elena had sold me for a seat at the table, but that table was built on bones. First move, the paper trail. I'd been hoarding emails since the glitch. Hale's casual, fix the numbers, notes, Elena's forwarded inspirations that were straight lifts from my drives. I anonymized it all, uploading to a whistleblower site run by ex-Wall Streeters pissed at the system. Then, the calls, a tip line for the National Labor Relations Board, voice distorted through a cheap app. Apex Solutions, Midtown. Retaliatory firing for ethics report. Check the merger docs. No name, just facts, enough to spark an audit. Word traveled fast in our world. By January, Elena texted, WTF, Cam? Board's sniffing around. Victor's on a warpath. I replied with a single emoji, a bomb. Her calls went unanswered. Our friendship's corpse was cold. But isolation's a forge, and I hammered my rage into resolve. I tempeed at a nonprofit in Harlem, teaching digital literacy to kids from my old neighborhood, their wide eyes a reminder of why I fought. Nights, I devoured labor law PDFs, cross-referencing with Apex's filings on Edgar. The glitch wasn't isolated. It tied to a pattern, fudged audits, ghosted complaints. Hale's house of cards was teetering. The climax brewed in February, a gray slush day when the NLRB van pulled up to Apex's lobby like a black hearse. I watched from across the street, bundled in a pea coat from the thrift shop, steam from my coffee cup fogging the air. Agents in crisp navy suits strode in, badges glinting under revolving doors, carrying files thick as phone books. My name wasn't on the warrant yet, but the lead investigator, a no-nonsense woman named Patel with a stare like a lie detector, clutched a dossier, stamped Reyes v. Apex Solutions. They'd connected dots I hadn't even seen, my severance tied to the ethics flag, Elena's affidavit reeking of coercion. Inside, chaos erupted like a piñata at a mob wedding. Hale's PA buzzed me on a burner. Holy shit, Cammy, they're hauling everyone into rooms. Elena's crying in the bathroom. I savored it, the schadenfreude bitter as black coffee. By noon, leaks hit Glassdoor. NLRB raid at Apex. Whistleblower drops bomb. Stock dipped 3% on the merger news wire. Clients called, voices oily with concern. Victor tried damage control, a town hall via Zoom. His face projected on every screen like Big Brother on steroids. This is a witch hunt, folks. But we're family. We'll weather it. Elena sat 2 rows back, her makeup a war paint of smudges, avoiding my ghost in the machine. I wasn't there, but I felt the fracture line spiderwebbing. They came for me that afternoon. Not the board. HR, with upgraded muscle. 2 burly security types and Sandra Klein, her pearls now a noose. Ms. Reyes, she said over my temp desk, voice pitched for the audience of wide-eyed kids. We need to talk. Privately, I stood slow, heart a war drum. About the investigation. Your involvement. Her eyes darted, betraying the bluff. Patel had stonewalled them. My tips were ghosts. But they smelled blood. We conferenced in a Starbucks around the corner, the hiss of espresso machines underscoring her threats. Retract your statements, or we countersue for defamation. Elena's willing to testify. You coerced her. Coerced. The lie twisted like a knife in the gut. I leaned in, voice low thunder. Tell Elena hi. And Victor? Enjoy the audit. I walked out, the bell tinkling like a death knell. The raid stretched weeks, a slow bleed that turned Apex's gloss to grime. Depositions leaked. Hale's emails exposed, crude as alley graffiti, admitting the feature was a cash grab. Elena flipped, first denying, then crumbling under cross-exam, admitting she'd signed my report to protect the team, only for Victor to bury it and blame me. Her affidavit? Coerced, she claimed, tears streaming in the transcript. The press feasted. Ad agency implodes. Latina VP's betrayal rocks Midtown. Pundits on CNBC debated. Was she a victim or villain? Hale's scheming painted him as the puppet master, flipping allies like cards in a con. I watched from my new walk-up in Washington Heights, rent paid by temp checks, and a side hustle ghostwriting LinkedIn profiles. The climax hit in March, a hearing room in Foley Square, fluorescent hum, and the scent of stale coffee. I testified last, sworn in with a Bible that felt heavier than my sins. Patel led me through it. The glitch, the report, the firing. Hale's lawyers pounced, painting me as a disgruntled ex, jealous of Ms. Vasquez's ascent. Elena took the stand before me, a ghost in gray wool, her voice a whisper. I thought I was protecting her. Camila's my sister. But her eyes, when they met mine across the room, were pleas wrapped in poison. My turn. I faced the panel, 3 stern faces under eagle seals, and laid it bare. They didn't just fire me, they erased me, for speaking truth in a house of mirrors. I detailed the betrayal, not with venom, but facts, timestamps on stolen decks, drafts in Elena's sent folder. The room tensed, air thick as a summer storm. Hale shifted, his Armani creased. Elena sobbed. A performance or penance, who could tell? The decisions came controversial, a Rorschach test for the soul. Hale resigned amicably, parachuting to a consultancy with a golden nest egg, justice's half measure. Apex settled. Back pay, my record expunged, a quiet donation to immigrant rights groups. Elena? Suspended pending review, her VP plaque pried off like a scab. She reached out post-hearing, a voicemail trembling. Cam, I was wrong. Let me make it right. I deleted it, the click final as a guillotine. But the twist? In the settlement docs, buried on page 47, a clause. Apex's ethics overhaul funded by my reinstated bonus. I'd funded my own revenge, a poetic irony that left me staring at the ceiling nights, wondering if I'd won or just circled the drain. The board hailed me a hero in low-key memos, Glassdoor thread split. Camila's a badass versus. She tanked jobs for spite. Elena vanished. Rumor had her in LA, pitching scripts about sisterhood betrayed, monetizing our wreckage. Me? I didn't return to agencies. Instead, I started a consultancy, Reyes Resilience, training whistleblowers on the down low. The skyline from my new office in the Bronx gleamed, no longer a taunt but a promise. Revenge wasn't the fire, it was the ash that fertilized new ground. But in quiet moments, sipping café con leche on the fire escape, I wondered, was Elena the villain, or was I, for lighting the match that scarred us both? The debate rages in my mirror, and maybe that's the real payback. No clean wins, just the endless echo of what if. The aftermath clung like humidity after a rain, thick and unrelenting. Spring thawed Manhattan streets into a slush of tourists and dealmakers, but my world stayed frozen in that hearing room's echo. Reyes Resilience launched from a co-working space in the Bronx, a converted warehouse with exposed brick and the faint tang of old ink from the print shop downstairs. My first client was a barista from Brooklyn, pink slip fresh from a chain that stiffed tips. We mapped her NLRB claim over empanadas I'd smuggled from my mom's kitchen. You're like a guardian angel, Camila, she said, eyes shining. I shrugged it off. Angels don't plot in the dark. But plot simmered. Victor Hale didn't fade quietly. He resurfaced on LinkedIn as strategic advisor for a boutique firm in the Flatiron District, his profile pic airbrushed to erase the jowls. His first post? Lessons from the trenches, building trust in turbulent times. The comments were a minefield, supporters crowing about cancel culture overreach, detractors linking to the NLRB docket. I scrolled in the witching hour, Jameson in hand, The burn a poor substitute for closure. Then, the DM, we need to talk. Coffee. V. Curiosity's a siren. I sailed straight for the rocks. We met at a spot in Chelsea. All reclaimed wood and overpriced lattes, the kind of place where power lunches masquerade as happenstance. Hale arrived early, nursing a black coffee, his suit a size looser, like defeat had deflated him. Camila, he greeted, standing with the grace of a man who'd rehearsed his fall. No hard feelings. I slid into the booth, ordering a courtier to match his ritual. Feelings are for Hallmark cards, Victor. What's the play? He chuckled, a rusty sound, and launched into monologue. Apex was restructuring, post-scandal skeletons rattling. He needed a consultant, someone with your perspective, to audit their compliance. The offer, $150 an hour, remote, no strings. Think of it as redemption. For all of us. Redemption. The word hung like smoke from a backfired engine. Was this contrition or con? Hale's eyes, sharp as ever, scanned me for cracks. I leaned back, channeling the boardroom poise I'd stolen from his playbook. What's in it for Elena? He blinked, caught off guard. Vasquez? She's on leave. Indefinite. Girl's got talent, but timing's everything. Timing. Like the timing of her knife in my back. I countered, $200 an hour, plus a clause for anonymous whistleblower training, on Apex's dime. He agreed too quick, signature digital and binding. Walking out, the spring sun mocking my chill, I wondered if I'd just hooked the shark or become chum. Elena resurfaced in May, a ghost in my inbox. Cam, please. One call. I'd blocked her burners, but persistence is her superpower. I relented at a neutral ground, a park bench in Riverside, dog walkers and joggers blurring the edges of our confrontation. She looked hollowed, cheekbones sharp under foundation that couldn't hide the shadows. I fucked up, she started, no preamble. Victor promised the world, but it was quicksand. He used me to bury you, then tossed me when the heat came. Used. The symmetry stung. You chose him, L. My report, our report, gone because his merger mattered more than us. Tears welled, real or rehearsed. With her, the line blurred. I was scared. We were broke, Cam. Mom's meds, your student loans, it felt like survival. Survival. The excuse we'd both clung to, from bodega shifts to boardrooms. She reached for my hand. I let her, the warmth a traitor. We talked for hours, the Hudson rolling lazy witness. She spilled. Hale's grooming, not just professional, late nights turning intimate, NDAs masking the haze. He said you'd understand. That loyalty meant protecting the team. Lies layered like lacquer. But beneath, regret cracked through. Her suspension unpaid, reputation a scarlet letter in agency circles. Help me fight back, she pleaded. We were sisters once. Sisters. The word tugged, a hook in old scars. I agreed to consult on her counterclaim. Together, we pieced her story. Coercion, quid pro quo, the works. It felt like old times, poring over docs till dawn, but the trust was fractured glass, pretty, but prone to cutting. The audit kicked off in June, virtual war rooms via Zoom, my face a pixelated specter on their screens. Apex's new interim CEO, a bland suit named Hargrove, welcomed me with gritted teeth. We're committed to change, Ms. Reyes. Bullshit, but billable. I dove in, unearthing more rot. Phantom overtime. A flex policy that meant unpaid weekends. Harassment logs shredded like confetti. Elena joined peripherally, her insights gold on Hale's maneuvers. Whispers spread, the whistleblower's back, and she's got teeth. Tension coiled like a spring. Hale emailed mid-audit, innocuous on surface. Progress? Drinks to celebrate? Subtext screamed sabotage. I forwarded to legal, covering tracks. Then, the flip, an anonymous tip to my firm. Reyes is colluding with Vasquez. Extortion play. Hargrove called. Voice iced. Camila, this smells. Step back, or we void the contract. Betrayal's echo chamber. Was it Hale, or Elena hedging bets? I confronted her over FaceTime, screen glitching like our bond. Your move? Her denial crumbled fast. I didn't swear. But if I did, it was to force your hand, get you deeper. Mistrust, her gift that keeps giving. I hung up, rage a live wire, and doubled down, leaking redacted findings to ProPublica. Apex's shadow compliance, what the NLRB missed. The piece dropped like a grenade. bylines crediting sources close to the matter. Hargrove's ceasefire, full implementation of my Rex, plus Elena's reinstatement, under my oversight. Power's a drug. I tasted it, bitter and sweet. But the high crashed when Hale surfaced again, not in email but flesh. Tailing me from a client meet in Midtown, cornering me in an alley off Broadway, the stink of garbage and garlic from a nearby cart. "You think you're winning?" he snarled, breath hot with scotch. No suit now, just a trench coat over rumples, eyes wild. "I built that place. You and your spick sob stories, tearing it down for what? Likes on Twitter." The slur landed like spit, raw and racial, stripping civility. I backed against brick, pulse thundering. "For truth, Victor. Something you wouldn't recognize." He lunged, not violent, but close, finger jabbing like accusation. "Vasquez told me everything. Your little pact. She's playing you, always was." Doubt flickered, a shadow in my periphery. Security lights buzzed. A passerby glanced, then hurried on, Manhattan's indifference. I shoved past, knee connecting accidental with his thigh, his curse chasing me into the street. Cab ride home. Shaking, I realized, the game's not over till the last flip. Elena's reinstatement was a farce, probationary, desk in the bullpen, her ideas funneled through me like a sieve. We lunched daily, dissecting Apex's guts, but paranoia poisoned the salad. "He's watching," she'd whisper, glancing at windows like they held snipers. I nodded, but wondered, who was the watcher now? July's heat wave baked the city into submission, asphalt shimmering like regret. My consultancy boomed, referrals from NLRB alums, a podcast invite on whistleblower warriors. Mom beamed over Sunday dinners. "Mija, you're the Avenger we prayed for." But prayers don't ward off twists. The email came anonymous. Attachments, grainy photos. Me and Elena at Riverside, heads bent close. Audit notes with her fingerprints, digital and damning. "Vasquez is Hale's mole. Cut her loose, or sink with her." Heart in throat, I traced the IP, bouncing through proxies, but the watermark? A font from Hale's old firm. Coincidence? Or Elena's double dip? I tested her, slipped a fake leak about a new glitch in the system. She bit, forwarding to Hargrove with concerns. Busted. Confrontation in Central Park, under the Delacorte shadow, joggers blurring moral grays. "Why?" I demanded, voice cracking like thunder. She crumpled, mascara rivers. "Survival, Cam. Victor offered a deal. Testify against you for a clean exit." I couldn't, but I had to. Flip after flip, her loyalty a coin always landing tails. "I love you," she sobbed. "Like a sister." Love. The lie we both swallowed. I walked away, leaving her on the bench, a statue to shattered vows. No police. Too messy, too American in its futility. Instead, I compiled the evidence. Her forwards, Hale's payoffs traced via shell accounts. ProPublica Part 2, The Double Agent, Apex VP's Secret Allegiance. Fallout was biblical. Elena fired for cause, blacklisted eternally. Hale indicted on wire fraud, his consultancy a smoking crater. Apex folded into a competitor, Hargrove's severance a gold watch to oblivion. Me? Vindicated, but hollow. The podcast aired. Camila Reyes. Hero or Avenger? Listeners split. She saved lives versus ruthless climber, using the system. Debate fodder, my legacy. But the real twist whispered in December's chill, a year to the day of the raid. A package arrived, no sender, just a manila envelope thick with cash, $50K, Chris Benjamins. Note inside, Elena's script, for the loans. For us. I'm gone. LA new name. Forgive? Cash for closure, blood money from a ghost. I burned it in the sink, flames dancing like accusations. Forgiveness? Maybe. But trust? That's the revenge that lasts. Winter wrapped Manhattan in its iron grip again, snowplows growling like beasts in the night, but my fire burned steady. Reyes' resilience had outgrown the warehouse, now a proper office in Fordham, with a team of 3, a paralegal from Queens, a tech whiz from SUNY, and me, the scarred captain steering through storms. Clients poured in, gig workers stiffed by apps, nurses buried under non-competes. Each story a mirror to my own, reflecting back the system's grind. Mom framed a clipping from the Times. Bronx whistleblower turns tables on corporate giants. Mi Guerrera, she called me, warrior with a laptop instead of a sword. Yet scars itch. Elena's gift, haunted, ashes scattered in the Hudson on a whim, the river swallowing secrets like it did sins. Her trail went cold. LA whispers of a production assistant gig, scripting under pseudonym. I resisted Googling. Some doors stay bolted. Hale's trial dragged. A circus of suits and subpoenas, his plea deal a slap. Probation, fines that barely dented his Hamptons hideaway. Justice, American style, equal under law, unless you can afford the footnotes. The new year dawned with opportunities gleam. A call from Patel, the NLRB lead, voice crisp over crackling line. Camila, we've got a class action brewing. Tech firms dodging overtime via exempt BS. Your name came up. Expert witness. Flattery's hook, but legit. I signed on, prepping affidavits in marathons of highlighter and herbal tea. It felt like purpose, not payback, though the lines blurred as they do. Then, the shadow returned. Anonymous emails, at first innocuous, watching your rise. Impressive, escalating to specifics, client names, meeting times. Stalker or saboteur. I beefed security, cameras, VPNs, a concealed carry permit I'd eyed since the alley scuffle. Paranoia's old friend, whispering Elena's back or Hale's revenge. Bronx nights grew long, fire escape vigils with a Glock's cold comfort. Spring thawed secrets. A client deposition cracked it open. A former Apex coder, poached by my rival consultancy, spilling tea over virtual coffee. Heard Vasquez is consulting off-books for Hale's network, ghostwriting defenses. Elena, unkillable, flipping yet again. Rage simmered to strategy. I leaked a breadcrumb, a fake case file on my site, bait for the trap. She bit. Email from a burner. Need details on Reyes' playbook. Pays good. Gotcha. I traced it to a VPN in Silver Lake, cross-referenced with IMDb credits. Elena Vasquez, uncredited on a docuseries about Me Too in Hollywood. Her script? Punching up gray area scenes. I didn't confront. Escalation's her game. Instead, I funneled dirt, doctored notes framing Hale's deal as ongoing fraud. She forwarded, blind, to his lawyers, NLRB bait, gift-wrapped. The bust came in June, sweltering heat wave turning courtrooms to saunas. Hale's plea unraveled, Elena subpoenaed, her LA glow dimmed under fluorescent glare. She took the stand, a chameleon shedding skins. I was coerced again. Camila planted it. The lie hung, fragile as tissue. My testimony shredded it. Timestamps, logs, her tells from a decade of friendship. She's flipped more times than a politician at a fundraiser, I said, voice steady. The judge, a grizzled vet with Brooklyn in his drawl, leaned in. Ms. Vasquez, this court's no circus. Truth or contempt. She cracked, a dam bursting. Hale's web, her role as courier, the cash gift as hush money. Plea bargain, immunity for testimony, community service in witness programs, irony's chef's kiss. Hale, prison blues, 5 years in Otisville, trading Armani for orange. Elena vanished for real, witness protection light, a fresh start in anonymity. Vindication's afterglow faded fast. The class actions settled huge, millions redistributed, reforms etched in policy stone. My name trended, Camila Reyes, the woman who broke the machine. TEDx invite followed, stage lights hot as judgment. I spoke on Betrayal's anatomy, the crowd's applause a bomb. But Q&A twisted. Was destroying Elena worth it? She's ruined. The questioner, a wide-eyed intern, echoed the divide. Hero or heel? I paused, mic heavy. Worth subjective. She chose the flip. I chose the fight. Sometimes, the cost is the lesson. Post-talk, a letter waited. Elena's handwriting, postmarked nowhere. Cam, you won. But in winning, did you lose us? The sister I killed was the best part of me. Forgive, or forget, your call. No return. I folded it into my wallet, a talisman against what-ifs. Summer waned into fall, my life a rhythm of cases and café con leches. Mom's health dipped, diabetes flare, hospital bills stacking like Jenga, but the consultancy covered, a quiet triumph. I dated sporadic, a union organizer with laugh lines, a poet from the Nuyorican cafe. No deep dives, trusts a slow rebuild. The final twist landed unannounced, November frost etching windows like lace. A knock at midnight. Patel, not in navy but jeans, bottle of Malbec in hand. Off books chat, Reyes. Over wine on my couch. She spilled. Elena's fresh start. A sting op. NLRB bait for bigger fish. Corporate networks dodging regs. She flipped on you last to save her skin. But your breadcrumbs? Gold. Closed 3 cases. Flipped. Again. The betrayal's hydra. Heads multiplying. Laughter bubbled. Hysterical edge. So I'm the patsy? Patel shook her head. Nah. You're the catalyst. She took the fall. You got the win. Win. The word echoed hollow. Elena, ever the survivor, trading one cage for another. Maybe reformed, maybe not. Debate eternal. Villain redeemed, or serpent coiled. I saw her once more, unintended. Airport layover in LAX, en route to a Seattle gig. She boarded my flight, economy crush, unaware till turbulence jostled us face to face. 3 rows apart, eyes locked, hers wide, mine steel. No words. The plane dipped, a metaphor 2 on nose. She deplaned first, a ghost in the jetway, carry-on swinging like regret. Back in the Bronx, snow falling soft as absolution, I pinned my own note. Unsent, burned like the cash. Sisters don't flip, they fold or fight. You chose fold. I chose fight. No hard feelings. The flames danced, consuming the last thread. Revenge's end? Not a bang, but a whisper. Resilience in the rubble. Apex's ghost haunts headlines, a cautionary yelp for the ambitious. Me? I rise daily, coffee black, conscience clearish. The debate rages, forums, bars, my mirror. Was I avenger or architect of mutual ruin? Right or wrong's a coin toss. But in America's grand casino, the house always debates. And in that gray, I thrive, scarred, unbowed, eternally on guard.